Merry Christmas, church family. It's good to see all of you. It's a pleasure to be with you this morning. And we know that it's the Christmas season because in our New England towns, we're starting to see Christmas decorations up on the street. And carolers perhaps are coming by your house. And whenever we have Christmas, it just brings a flood of memories to my mind, as I'm sure it does yours. I remember 23 years ago, my daughter Grace was 3 years old, and she and I were doing some Christmas shopping together to prepare for Christmas for she and her older sisters. And we decided that we would go into the larger town near where we lived, and we found ourselves at a Kmart store. And the store was, of course, packed with shoppers and people who were, just very excited to do their Christmas shopping. And Grace and I were scurrying around the store and trying to find the things that we wanted or needed for Christmas. And I remember we got to the checkout line, and it was a long line, lots of people there in the line. And I was looking at the items in my shopping cart, and I was kind of mentally inventorying them and trying to decide, am I going to put this on my debit card or am I going to pay cash for it? How much is this going to cost me, and how do I need to pay for it? And as I was inventorying those items, I kind of lost track of Gracie. And I looked down, and she had been standing beside me, and now she was gone. I had no idea where she was. There were 3 or 4 shopping carts behind me, and 2 or 3 in front of me still. And I looked around and I couldn't see her. Immediately, the things that I was purchasing became irrelevant. I didn't need them, could care less about them. I needed to find Gracie. And so I started looking, and I didn't see her. I went up one aisle and down the other. There by the checkout area, she was nowhere to be found. And I immediately saw what appeared to be a management person for Kmart walking towards me. They had on the blue Kmart vest, if you remember those from 20 years ago. And I said, have you seen my little girl? She's 3 years old. She has 2 little pigtails, and she's wearing overalls. And the store manager stopped and paused, and she looked at me. And she said, I just saw a little girl like that walking with a man. And my heart just froze. I was terrified. Had someone abducted my child? And so I said to the store manager, I said, lock the door and don't let anybody out of this store. And I immediately ran out into the parking lot, and I began looking to see if I could see Gracie with some unknown man. I ran up one aisle of cars and down another. I looked and looked and could not find her anywhere. Didn't see her anywhere. And of course, in that kind of scenario, our mind races to the worst possible case scenario. Has my child been taken? My child is lost. What am I going to do? How am I going to tell her mother? I went back to the store, and thankfully the employees of Kmart had locked the door. It was a full store, people coming in and out, but they were monitoring the door very closely. No one got in or out of Kmart unless a store representative put eyes on them and visually looked to see if my daughter was with them. I really appreciated them doing that. What if they hadn't taken it seriously? What if they hadn't paused to help me find my daughter? I began to look through the store, going down one aisle and then another. And I went into the ladies' clothing section, of all places, there in Kmart. And they had these round racks filled with blouses and skirts and other ladies' apparel. And I was in that section, and the store was noisy, lots of people. But above that drum of noise, I could hear a little voice singing. She was singing a Christmas carol. God rest ye merry gentlemen. I still remember it. Gracie always loved to sing, even as a small child. And I heard a little voice singing. And I went up to one of the round racks of ladies' clothing, and I parted the blouses, and there sat my little girl with a doll, and she was singing a Christmas carol to her. I said a prayer of thanks. I was so thankful that I had found my child that was lost. You know, when your child is lost, nothing else matters. Nothing else matters when your child is lost. And friends, this Christmas season, so many of God's children are lost. They are the store clerks in the shops that you frequent. It's the person who cuts your hair. It's the person who collects your trash. It's the people you see every single day in the throng of masses of people around you. It's the person you work with. Maybe God's child that is lost is your own child. They're far from God. They don't know the Lord, and their lives are suffering as a consequence of that. God has thousands of lost children in New England. You know, when my daughter Gracie was lost, what would we have thought of the employees of Kmart if they hadn't stopped to help me find her? If they hadn't taken every measure to make sure that my daughter was lost? That would be unthinkable, wouldn't it? To try to not help find her. Well, friends, we're given the same challenge. God's children are lost and we've got to find them. God needs your help. And the pastors and Bible workers of this conference, the teachers in this conference, we all need your help to make that happen. And so what I want to ask you to do this holiday season is not only, first and foremost, become a missionary. Become a missionary to the lost children of New England. Help us find God's lost children. That's the most important thing that you can do. Be a witness. Be someone who is kind and compassionate and loving. You know, Ellen White tells us that it's that tender, compassionate involvement in people's lives that makes all the difference. That's the most important thing you can do. The second thing I want to ask you to do is to give a special holiday gift to either your local church evangelism budget or our conference evangelism budget. Or if you feel extra generous this Christmas season, give a gift of both. Because our evangelism dollars are, we're using them. We're not hoarding them. We are using them every day to try to reach God's lost children. And we need more donations to evangelism so we can do Bible studies and hire Bible workers and employ people who are actively promoting the three angels' messages around New England. We need your help. Won't you help us find God's lost children this Christmas season? I know you can do it. I'm so thankful for all you do. May God bless you with the peace that comes from your relationship with Him, and may you share it with others. Merry Christmas, and God bless you.